that there were student protests about a number of things, but primarily about frustration with the way some of the Title IX sexual harassment cases were handled. I think it's appropriate to also say last year there was no event that catalyzed the protests. And I'm speaking very frankly here. So the name of the claimant, thank you. The president was concerned about communication around Title IX issues, not so much around the issues themselves. Not that those issues are not incredibly serious, but that we have a fantastic team of Title IX, a Title IX coordinator, Title IX deputy coordinators, and they are the people that take in confidential complaints about sexual harassment for students, for faculty, and for staff. I think this particular group of students wanted a very particular outcome in terms of aspects of campus life, and they wanted it fast. They wanted it on their time, and the president believes very strongly in shared governance and in making sure that not only loud voices but quiet voices are heard. And so at the beginning of last year, she put together a task force on which Jim served, but also alumni, board members, students, staff, faculty, people who were part of protests from the year before, members of fraternities, right? The whole representative group, and said, I'd like you to really think long and hard. We've done a lot of good work around Title IX. We've done a lot of good work around bystander training, around sexual education, with students who are always there to speak to intervene, to think much more carefully about the party culture on campus. Now I'd like you to drill down and really think about the role of fraternities in campus life and whether that remains a sticky wicket. Whether there are some, we only had 2 fraternities, they had no more than 3 parties last year, right? So, but let's see if this is something that we should be thinking about as a really small college. Should we be a place that still needs fraternities and sororities? So that task force took on that discussion very seriously, and they were charged with making a recommendation to her by the end of the year. The protests last year were wanting to circumvent that process, were wanting to shorten it. And they asked the president to come out, particularly when some minutes had been discovered from fraternity members from 6 years ago that did not make us look good, did not make the fraternities look good, and said, you know, you got those minutes, that should be enough for you to shut these down. And she said, I believe in process. I believe that everybody here should be heard. And I want us to be able to take any crisis that we handle and consult all of each other and then come to some kind of consensus. And so I'm sticking with this process. And the particular students that were very upset were even more enraged. So that's the piece that Dean Terhune was talking about in terms of helping each other do the shared governance. What does that look like? Actually, it doesn't happen overnight. What does that look like? It's deeply consultative. Not one group gets to say. What does that look like? It makes sure that a high priority, the highest priority, is safety. But right up there is a really close second, is our mutual participation in the discussion of how we do that for each other. And if we forfeit the second for the first, then we've stopped being Swarthmore. And we've also stopped teaching each other, not just students, but faculty and staff, how to do the hard work of shared governance together. So she stuck by that, but the protests escalated in response to her decision to do that. So that's a shorthand from my perspective of the name it and the claim it.
Yeah, I would just quickly, the only thing I would add to that is, I think regrettably, the focus of the protesters was not exclusively on the issue. It became very divisive in that it pointed at certain students on campus in what was a really personal way. And so we saw a real fracture in the campus community that is at the heart of what we're trying to work
And the majority of students actually were kind of quiet about this and just said, golly, you know, I want this place to be everything I want it to be, and it's feeling good to me. And I've got friends who are whispering about each other in the hallways or making statements about each other in the school newspaper. It doesn't feel good to me, and it's not because I don't agree with their goals. And so we also want to spend this year, next year, really hearing from those students who were the quiet majority and thinking about how they can help us do this work of community building too.
Certainly it's a difficult and challenging skill set to facilitate really crucial and complex, crispy conversations. And I wonder what resources and training are available to faculty